I'd like to welcome everybody to this, our 13th annual Faculty and Staff Awards Dinner. As I oftentimes mention at professorship inaugurations, one of the highlights of the many duties that I have is presiding over events where we have the opportunity to recognize individuals who stand out for their excellence and their contributions to the medical school, to the health system, and to the university. And so tonight is one of those wonderful occasions. The occasion is made even more special by the many special guests that we have with us tonight. And I'd just like to introduce some of our guests. First, Dr. Ora Hirsch-Peskovitz. Ora, could you stand up? Executive Vice President for Medical Affairs and CEO of the University of Michigan Health System. Dr. Robert Kelch, Executive Vice President Emeritus for Medical Affairs. Bob, welcome. Dr. Alan Saltiel, the Mary Sue Coleman Director of the Life Sciences Institute. Welcome, Alan. And we also have with us tonight several individuals who are here supporting honorees, but who have received very distinguished awards from the university. And so I'd like to recognize Dr. Mark Oringer, who was named a Distinguished University Professor of Thoracic Surgery. Mark? And Deb Gamuccio, who received the Distinguished Faculty Achievement Award from Rackham. Deb? And Michael Horch, who received the Provost 2013 Teaching Innovation Prize. Michael? Out there. And Dr. Gil Oman, the university's first EVPMA, who was recognized with the inauguration of the first Oman lectureship given by Dr. Leroy Hood right here this past Monday. And Gil also will receive the David E. Rogers Award, recognizing his significant contributions to improving health and health care for Americans at the AAMC, the Association of American Medical Colleges, national meeting this Saturday. Congratulations, Gil. And since I have 4 children, I am very used to them eating while I'm trying to talk. And so I would encourage all of you to do the same and start on your salads while I'm talking. To run a world-class academic medical center such as we do is really, as all of you know, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week enterprise. We are justifiably proud of our accomplishments, and the individuals we honor tonight and their many talented and hardworking colleagues are what makes it all possible. Because the medical school, the health system, the university is not the buildings, it's the people. The people are the ones that provide the clinical care, that do the education, that do the research. Without all of you and our many colleagues, this place would simply be a collection of buildings. And so tonight, we recognize the essence of the school. I urge you to relax, to enjoy the company of those around you, and join me as we celebrate the efforts of 16 faculty and 3 staff members who we recognize for their distinguished service to our mission. Those who have been recognized tonight were nominated by their superiors and peers who put together nomination packets and wrote thoughtful, heartfelt letters of support, each glowing with praise, all because they wanted to highlight the excellence of individuals who are their supervisors, their colleagues, and very often their friends. Once again this year, we received many nominations, which made selecting winners a very difficult task. Our award selection committees have given many hours above and beyond their regular duties to choose from the many very deserving individuals those that we would honor tonight. At this time, I would like all of the committee members who have participated in going through all the nominees and choosing tonight's winners to stand and be recognized. Thank you to all of you. As we say each year, to be recognized as a recipient of one of tonight's awards is to be selected as one of the finest representatives of one of the finest medical schools of one of the finest universities in the nation. And so it's a great pleasure to honor you. As I go through the award winners, I will be sharing a bit about what makes them so special. But because many of you want to be home before midnight, I would ask you to look to the program for additional details on each of the award winners. Now let us begin. As I introduce each recipient, I ask that you join me on stage to accept your award and to share a few words with our guests. Our first award tonight is the Basic Science Research Award. It recognizes a scientist or a group of scientists identified as having made outstanding contributions to the medical school in basic biomedical science research. We will present 2 awards in this category. The first recipient is Dr. Yukiko Yamashita. Please join me. Dr. Yamashita is an associate professor in the Department of Cell and Developmental Biology, as well as a research associate professor in the Life Sciences Institute. She was recruited to Michigan through the Center for Stem Cell Biology and the Life Sciences Institute. And during her time here, she has made several significant discoveries. Her research is focused on determining the functions and regulation of adult stem cells. Defects, asymmetric cell division can lead to failure in organ development and multiple disease pathologies, such as cancer, degenerative diseases, age-related declines in tissue function. Her seminal contributions have resulted in her receiving numerous prestigious research awards, including a Genius Award from the MacArthur Foundation and be named a Howard Hughes Medical Institute investigator in 2013. Yukiko says that she appreciates Michigan's supportive environment, which allows her the freedom to pursue her research as she desires to do. In her off time, she enjoys fossil hunting and spending time with her family, though her research is rarely far from her mind, as she says it is not a job, but rather a hobby. She is pleased to receive this year's Basic Science Research Award, as it is the first recognition award she has received that does not include future potential as selection criteria. And we agree, this award recognizes achievement. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Yukiko Yamashita. Congratulations. Please.
Thank you very much. This is a really great honor to be here and then to be recognized by this award. I can't be really more thankful about being here and also, being nurtured by this community of the university, the University of Michigan Medical School, and then Life Sciences Institute, and then Center and the Developmental Biology Department. Everybody has been extremely supportive, so I could really do my own science, to pursue my science without worrying about how to be recognized or how to get promoted or how to find my own niche. But instead, I think I just could do my job, and then that's how I'm here. Thank you very much. And then, of course, I have to say my family also for their support. Thank you very much.
Here, please come over here. Way back there in the back is going to take a picture. Great. All right. Congratulations. Our second Basic Science Research Award recipient is Dr. Yang Song. He is an associate professor of computational medicine and bioinformatics and biological chemistry in the medical school. Joining our U of M faculty in 2009, he has made seminal contributions to the field of structural bioinformatics and protein structure modeling. He is also the owner of a very impressive international winning streak. He has dominated an annual competition called Critical Assessment of Protein Structure, which occurs biannually. He and his team won the CASP 7, 8, and 9 competitions, and his team leads the competition again in CASP 10. How significant is this work? I think an indication of its significance is that just a decade ago, the IBM Corporation said calculating a 3D protein structure from the primary amino acid sequence information was computationally impossible. Since then, his program, iTaser, for predicting atomic protein structures, has calculated in excess of 100,000 3D protein structures, has been used by more than 30,000 investigators in more than 100 countries. Interestingly, he says there are no shortcuts to scientific research, and, quote, he'd rather be dull than clever. However, I would submit that to develop such a program may not be clever, but incredibly creative and persevering. The Basic Science Research Award, he notes, is recognition that highlights the importance of studying protein structure and its usefulness to modern biomedical studies. In his short periods of off time, Yang likes music, listening to jazz, playing the guitar and drums, and even was in a band previously. Please join me in congratulating the 2013 Basic Science Research Award winner, Dr. Yang Zhang. Congratulations. Thank you. Please.
Yeah, I'm really honored, but perhaps over-honored to receive this prestigious award, because I believe there's many others across campus who are equally or more deserving of this recognition. So when this great news came, Dr. Janet Schmidt, who is a distinguished professor in structural biology, he sent me a message. She said, I'm so pleased to know the protein structure is featured prominently at the University of Michigan. So she's right. Indeed, we consider this recognition, or this award, as a recognition of the effort in protein structure and structural biology community in the University of Michigan. And it's really helped to highlight the importance and the usefulness of protein structure in the biomedicine study, and also the modern drug discovery. So finally, I want to thank my nominator, Dr. Gil Omen, and my chair, Dr. Brian Assey, for their support and to my study. So without their support, I'm unable to be here to receive this award. Thank you. Thank you all.
Congratulations. Well deserved. The first of 3 staff awards I am privileged to present tonight is the Support Staff of the Year Award. It is conferred upon a staff member who demonstrates excellence in their work, contributes to a positive work environment, and is mindful of his/her service to the mission of the medical school. This year's award winner is Ms. Paula Meyer. Paula came to the medical school in 2004 as a temporary employee. Almost a decade later, she is recognized for her excellence as the events coordinator for the Office of Medical Student Education in the school. She is the point person of our most important events in our students' lives. M1 orientation, match day, commencement are but some examples. Her colleagues say she brings a personal touch to all of these events and more, and finds new and creative ways to make each of the participants feel special. She enjoys watching the students progress and grow during their time at Michigan, stating she feels like a proud mother in seeing how far each has come. Those of you who have attended graduation know that one of the statistics I cite to the class is around how many romances have blossomed during medical school. Well, Paula is similar. She met her husband, Jim, while at work, and fortunately gets to see him frequently as he is the medical school's UPS driver. So romance comes in many different forms at the medical school. She recently earned her master's degree in historic preservation. She thinks this interest stemmed from growing up in an old sea captain's house in New England. She also loves to cook and says sometimes she wishes she had gone back to school for cooking instead, which is something we heartily concur with. In her free time, she spends time with her husband, their dogs, cats, their growing children while they are in town, as well as traveling as often as possible to other parts of the country. I'm very pleased to bestow the medical school's 2013 Support Staff of the Year Award to Ms. Paula Meyer. Congratulations.
Sorry, I'm going to have to read, but I want to say all my kids are in town. They all surprised me today, which was really nice. They all popped in, so that's Phoenix and Washington, D.C., and Grand Rapids and Novi. They're all here. I want to say thank you to those who have helped and inspired me to do the best job that I could while I was here at the medical school. People such as Brad Denson, my supervisor, who had the confidence in me to nominate me for this award, my coworkers I appreciate, faculty, and of course students. In my position as the event coordinator, I look forward each year to welcoming our med students as they arrive at orientation nervous and not knowing what to expect. I have watched them grow as they move from M1s to M4s. I have cheered for them as they found where they were matching for their residency and said goodbye to them at commencement as new doctors about to set out on the next step of their careers. The growth that happens in medical school it never ceases to amaze me. It is a proud moment as I watch them cross the stage to receive their diplomas in front of a large group of dedicated faculty who look so distinguished in their robes. And many of you are here tonight, I know, department chairs, faculty. It's a scene that always makes me smile. In addition to my duties at the medical school, I have been fortunate enough to be able to go back to graduate school while continuing to work. I now have a master's degree in historic preservation, which, along with the experiences and opportunities I've had at the medical school, has leading me in a new chapter to my life. I'll be leaving the medical school to take a job with the historic Ford estates, the Etzel and Eleanor Ford House, and the Henry Ford Estate. I leave here with a confidence I didn't know I had, having learned from the best how to do a job well and to be a professional. You not only teach students to be good doctors and succeed, you teach your employees as well. Although I'll be leaving to take a new position, there will still be a connection to the university in my new job of raising money to restore the historic Ford Estate in Dearborn, which until recently was owned by the University of Michigan, and upon whose land the University of Michigan Dearborn was built. Also, I get to keep my wonderful husband, who I met here at the medical school. He is our UPS driver. Once again, thanks to all who have helped me get to where I am today. I know there are a lot of people in support roles, such as mine, who are so deserving of this honor. With that in mind, I'm appreciative of this acknowledgement. Thank you very much.
And now you know why I wish you would have stuck to cooking. The Professional Staff of the Year Award is conferred upon a professional staff member who demonstrates excellence in their work, contributes to a positive work environment, and is a strong team contributor. This year's honoree is Ms. Sue Kelch. Ms. Kelch is a senior financial specialist in the Department of Otolaryngology, Head and Neck Surgery. But she has experienced many facets of the University of Michigan. As a patient, as a caregiver, as a family member to U of M graduates, and as an employee within 4 different colleges, including engineering, public health, LSA, and the medical school, which she joined in 1997. Colleagues commented on her ability to administer a $10 million research budget and to handle each grant, whether large or small, with the same care and attention. They note she is a forward thinker with a special skill for forecasting. In turn, she shares with her colleagues that it is important to understand every day that they are touching many people who will remember them for how well they do or don't do their job, even in little things. Sue believes that everyone should give back and has actively done this in her own way by raising puppies for leader dogs of the blind, knitting and crocheting lap gowns for veterans, and developing her musical skills to play the piano at senior centers. She enjoys traveling with her husband Ray and filling their national park passport book with stamps. Their goal is to visit as many parks as possible, and so far, I am told, the total is 25. Please join me in congratulating Ms. Sue Kelch, the 2013 Professional Staff of the War winner. Congratulations.
Thank you, Paula, for bringing up your sheet because I'm bringing up mine as well. I have a confession to make. I'm coming out of the closet. I'm a Michigan State University grad, but U of M only hires the best, so here we are. I am extremely humbled by this award, and trust me, when I got a phone message from the dean's office, I thought, oh my gosh, what did I do? I want to thank the chair, Carol Bradford, the associate chair, Thomas Carey, and the director, Jochen Schacht. Because of their support and support from other faculty and staff, I am where I am today. And I feel that this award is truly a joint effort of all. I'd also like to thank my family for coming, and my husband, he is here also, of almost 34 years. I've worked at the University of Michigan for over 28 years, and I've been in the Department of Otolaryngology, head and neck cancer for over 16. I have been truly blessed to work at the University of Michigan. I started my career in aerospace engineering, where they trained astronauts. I worked in the School of Public Health, where their work on a vaccine culminated in an announcement for the discovery of the polio vaccine. I now work in a department where the faculty are on the cutting edge of treating and rehabilitating patients with diseases of ear, nose, throat, head, and neck. And the collaborative environment with clinical and research scientists improves and saves lives. And I guess I'm thankful that I don't work at Michigan State. I have some of my life's mottos I'd like to share. My husband has been close to death several times due to medical emergencies, which include 2 brain surgeries before the age of 30 and years of stroke rehabilitation. His success truly outweighs mine. And those who provided the best of care, I will always remember, but I will always remember also those who provided mediocre care at best. Just remember, we are the leaders and the best at the University of Michigan. Be sure to understand every day that you're reaching many people who remember you for how well you do or don't do your job, even in the smallest things. You truly make a difference.
Thank you. The final awards before we enjoy our entrees are the Clinical and Health Service Research Awards. This award recognizes a faculty member or members who are identified as having made outstanding contributions to the medical school and clinical or health services research. Tonight, 2 faculty members will receive this award. The first is Dr. Denise Tate. Dr. Tate is a professor and associate chair for research in the Department of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation. She joined the University of Michigan faculty in 1986 as part of the National Program of Research in Spinal Cord Injury, and also for the opportunity to serve this patient population clinically. Her research centers on issues of psychosocial adjustment, depression, and quality of life for patients following traumatic spinal cord injury. Dr. Tate was instrumental in the establishment of our Spinal Cord Injury Model Systems program, as well as the postdoctoral research training program. She also has enjoyed working with the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living and their staff of persons with disabilities. Nationally recognized for her contributions, she received a Coulter Lectureship from the American Congress of Rehabilitation, the highest honor given in the field of rehabilitation. She shares with her colleagues the need to be passionate about what interests them most and never to let go of goals. Personal and professional development is an ongoing process, and it never ends until life itself ends. Her hobbies and interests include foreign languages, swimming, photography, and travel. And as a citizen of her home, or at least coming from her home country of Brazil, she is looking forward to the 2014 World Cup soccer events that will be staged there. I am very pleased to present the 2013 Clinical and Health Services Research Award to Dr. Denise Tate. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Dean Woolliscroft. I would like to begin by thanking you and the awards committee and Steve Kunkel and all of those who selected me for this award. Is indeed a great honor and a privilege to be recognized as one of the most distinguished and accomplished clinical researchers at the University of Michigan Medical School, and especially for my achievements in health research and clinical research. But most of all, there is a person who is very special to me who is sitting here in the audience, and I want to acknowledge my chair, Dr. Edward Hurwitz, for nominating me for this award and for most of all believing on me and in my abilities to receive the award. Ed was very persistent and insistent because I actually thought that I shouldn't be up for this award, and he was very encouraging, as he always has been to me. So I really appreciate his vote and trust in me. Much what I do with my research is really a result not of my own work, but of a great team of workers, which is, I think, what we do in terms of rehabilitation research is the nature of our work. I have a team of exceptional colleagues, many of who are here today, and friends who have worked very hard with me and have supported my work throughout the years in rehabilitation research. They have mentored me without knowing that they have done so. They have inspired me and jointly contributed to our common vision of rehabilitation research designed to really improve the lives of persons with disabilities. So I wish to acknowledge their presence here as well today, and I'm going to start by acknowledging Dr. Claire Kalpakchin and Mr. Marty Forsheimer, who are really my right and left hands and my closest team members. Thank you very much for your own contributions to our research team. Next, I would like to mention Dr. Sandra Cole, who is not able to be here with us tonight. She's not feeling very well, but also not only represents herself, but also her husband, our past chair, Dr. Ted Cole, who was a past chair of PMNR, and who is no longer with us today, but whose memory I treasure very much, as I will always. The Coles, whose contributions in the area of sexuality and disability are internationally known, and they have played an enormous role in mentoring me during my early career years here at the University of Michigan. So I'm very indebted to their help and their mentoring to my career. But I believe that research that makes a difference needs to be relevant to the lives of those who we wish to help, which really it is our patients that we want to help the most. So my greatest source of inspiration, my loyal consultant, and the one I always try my ideas on is my friend and colleague who is here tonight, Tom Houtland. And Tom, I cannot see you. I don't know exactly where you are, but I know you are here in the audience. There he is, okay. I met Tom when he was still a patient on the 6-8 unit here, and I worked with Tom very closely as a psychologist in the unit. This was following his traumatic spinal cord injury due to a gunshot wound to his back when he was working at one of the Holiday Inn's hotels here in Livonia, Michigan. And it was through Tom that I really experienced disability for the first time, through Tom's eyes, his voice, his memory, and his feelings. During his rehabilitation, Tom participated in our hospital to community program that I had put together with some of my colleagues to help our patients with spinal cord injury to have an easier way to have a re-entry back into the community and to their social lives. The program was co-sponsored by the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, and which is a community-based agency here in Ann Arbor. And Tom, after he had graduated from our rehabilitation program, actually came back to us to work with us with our program and helping our patients. So this is very special to me. More recently, Tom now went to work for the Christopher Reeve Foundation, as some of you know, is doing fabulous work in terms of research of people with spinal cord injury. So during all these years, he has helped me to learn how disability impacts quality of life, but most of all, he has helped many of our patients to adjust to changes in life due to severe injuries. So thank you, Tom, for all your help as well, too. And lastly, a very big hug and thanks to my husband, Peter, my coach, my greatest supporter of all. Love you very much. So thank you all. This award is for all of you. Thank you.
The second recipient of the Clinical and Health Services Research Award is Dr. John Way. Dr. Way is a professor of urology. He joined our faculty after completing the Robert Wood Johnson Clinical Scholars Program. Dr. Way has gone on to become one of the recognized top international leaders in urological health services research and is helping to build the Dow Division of Health Services Research, considered by many to be the preeminent urological health services research group in the world. He is focused on improving outcomes for patients with urologic diseases, including prostate cancer, a disease for which he leads a multidisciplinary team working to develop novel biomarkers to improve cancer detection. Dr. Way states that he has been fortunate to be able to support his own clinical niche in research as well as clinical care, and that they overlap so nicely. He has been instrumental in the evaluation of a new urine test designed to detect gene fusion products in the presence of prostate cancer. Outside of the clinical and research arena, he enjoys spending time with his family and woodworking. He also notes that after buying his daughter a baby chick for Easter, that was the first mistake, his family now has a small collection of pet chickens that places him among a growing underground movement, I must admit, of faculty and staff who are chicken fanciers. It gives me great pleasure to present the 2013 Clinical and Health Services Research Award to Dr. John Way. Congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Woolliscroft. It really is an honor to be included among such a distinguished list of honorees and past honorees. As I was thinking about what to say up here, it dawned on me that I'm really accepting this award on behalf of every clinical and health services researcher here at the university, most of whom are more deserving than I am. I just happened to get selected this year. Let me explain why. And I've never told the story, so bear with me. I came here in 1997, just finishing my urology residency, not knowing a stitch about health services research. I came here, I was taken in by Larry McMahon, Rod Hayward, Joel Howell in the Robert Wood Johnson Clinical Scholars Program. And they gave me my beginning steps to becoming a researcher. They also funded me to go to the School of Public Health, a fine institution. And there, I earned my degree in biostatistics and ran into Dr. Morton Brown. And it was Mort who mentored me to research independence, and I owe him a great deal. Of course, we cannot be successful without resources, right, in research. And much of the resources as I was getting started came from my chairman, both of whom are here this evening. Dr. Monty, thank you for supporting me, giving me opportunities, resources, and all the encouragement as I got started. Dr. Bloom for teaching me how to be a scholar, academician, and a leader. I should also recognize my research team, without whom I could not do any of the research that I've done. Brent Hollenbeck, who is our new associate chair for research, is here this evening with his wife, Ann. I want to thank Brent for being my wingman and watching my back and being the heavy lifter in our group, and of course all the other faculty in the Dow Division. I'll end by thanking my family. My sister Janice and my brother-in-law Brian are here tonight, and my wife May, who points out I never thank her often enough. Thank you. I would certainly not be as successful and certainly not be as happy without all of you. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now, please enjoy your entree. Hopefully, unlike Chick-a-Flick advertisements, it's beef. given the interests of our recent award winner. So enjoy the entree. If I could have everybody's attention once again, would like to continue with the presentations. I trust all of you have enjoyed and will continue to enjoy your entree while we go on with our award announcements. Our next award is the Medical School Community Service Award. It recognizes a faculty member who contributes to the local, national, or global community in an extraordinary fashion. This year's recipient is Dr. Robert Heisey. Dr. Heisey is an associate professor of internal medicine. Since 2007, he has been part of Amazon Promise, a nonprofit organization that provides free medical services and education to jungle villages in Laredo, which is Peru's largest and poorest province. His dedication has increased to the point that he is now the medical director for Amazon Promise. Many of the patients he serves travel days to reach the free clinics, and most have little other access or options for medical care. Dr. Heisey calls the M4 elective that he has organized in Peru the most unique and challenging experience he has had as a faculty member. When he returns to campus from Peru, he often gives slide presentations for medical students, residents, and staff. He does to recognize those who have contributed and also to highlight the annual trips as a way for students and residents to see what a difference they can make on a global level through such service. At the University of Michigan, Bob derives satisfaction from assisting the career development of dozens of practitioners in the field of pulmonary and critical care medicine, who now work not only in Michigan, but across the country. In his spare time, he enjoys reading the New York Times, reading his Kindle, he is a Renaissance man, cycling, and competitive tennis. And once, he captained the men's USTA 4.0 level travel team at Liberty Sports Club. On his way to work, he learns foreign languages in his car. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Heisey, the 2013 Medical School Community Service Award winner.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Woolliscroft, for the award. And I have to say, for those that don't know me, you may know me, as Connie Sandifer pointed out, as I'm your screensaver right now. So God help me, I would like to see that pass. But thank you for honoring me with this award, and thank you to the selection committee. I have to say I've given 8 lectures in 2 countries at 2 national meetings in 6 days, and I wasn't nervous at all. But I'm nervous about this because I'm not used to sort of talking about how great I am in public, and so it's a challenge, right? But this is not my day job, and I appreciate John Crothers and Ted Sandifer for nominating me for this award. And my daughter is in from Colorado. My friend Silke is here with me. My other daughter could not come in from North Carolina to be with us, but shout out to them. It's a pretty great place to work. Frankly, this is not my day job. My day job is mainly as an intensivist in pulmonary critical care. And I appreciate the support of Joe Kohlers and Global Reach for allowing me sort of slip this under the radar and take students down to Peru with me. Been doing that for several years now, and as long as they're willing to pay, and I haven't lost one yet, knock on wood, and we'll continue to do it. So it's a great privilege to work at the medical center. This is my second time around at the University of Michigan. And I think it was the old F. Scott Fitzgerald thing, no second acts in America. And I've had a second act here. And I can only tell you, you have to leave and come back in order to know really, truly what a great place this is to work. And, my professional career in pulmonary critical care medicine has been a great and rewarding career. And to be able to slip this sort of under the radar, and I guess with this award I'm no longer under the radar, but to be able to have the opportunity to take our students down and provide them with this opportunity has been really, really a treat. I mean, I'll tell you, you really get to know the students and how great our students are when you're on the boat with them, and they may have had a loose bowel movement or two, and they're a little hungry, and they're all bitten up with mosquitoes, and it's a challenge, but they always rise to it, and they're just a true joy. No, I'm completely serious. It's a tough environment. You're with these people 24/7 for about 3.5 weeks, and it can be pretty tough on them. And so, anyway, all I would say in conclusion is thank you for the award. I'm very honored by it. It's a little sideline I developed. I didn't really know that my career would go in part in this direction. It's a great pleasure to have this as part of it, and it's a great pleasure to work at a university where I can just sort of pull this off. So as long as I can keep doing it, and as long as they can afford it, I'm going to keep doing it, and it's a great joy. I know that we've helped some people down there. I know we're really only scratching the surface when it comes to third world poverty, which is really gripping and daunting. But at least it's more good than bad. I would say on conclusion, though, I really have gotten as much as I've given, and I think anyone who does that would acknowledge that. And so I don't really feel altruistic at all. I mean, you do something, and it's great to go down there, but you really get as much back, at least, as you give. So thank you for the award, and hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
And for those of you that are not used to dinners in medical company, that's very common discussion at tables. You ought to be with a gastroenterologist. Our next award, the first of 5 presented tonight to some of our finest physicians, is the Outstanding Clinician Award. It recognizes the exemplary performance of a practicing clinician or program leader of innovation in clinical care. Our first recipient is Dr. Paula Bockenstadt. Paula? Dr. Bockenstadt is an associate professor and director of the Adult Coagulation Disorders Program. After completing her fellowship in hematology, she and her husband, Dr. David Fox, came to the University of Michigan in 1985. On her first day as a faculty member, just out of fellowship, she was summoned to the operating room to assist with a liver transplant case. Since that day, she has earned a reputation as a go-to physician for all aspects of hemorrhagic, thrombotic, and hematologic disorders. Many of her colleagues in the medical school routinely seek her out for her opinion on complex cases. She recently was one of 23 physicians inducted into the Department of Internal Medicine's, where's John? What is it, John? Yes, and John likes to just prove he's a Latin scholar. This is a clinical society that recognizes faculty who exude and demonstrate clinical excellence toward patients and colleagues. Paula states that she is learning something new from the questions posed by patient referrals, and on occasion has had the excitement of uncovering a new diagnosis. Her advice to young faculty is that they owe patients their best possible advice and care. And to do this, communication and teamwork are essential. Outside of the clinical realm, she enjoys being outdoors during all seasons, hiking with her dogs or horseback riding several times per week. She states that she agrees with the slightly modified Winston Churchill quote, "There is something about the outside of a horse that is good for the inside of a woman." She states that she was humbled by this award and credits her dedicated and nationally recognized hemostasis staff for providing her the support necessary to care for a patient population of over 1,000 with coagulation disorders. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Paula Bockenstadt, Outstanding Clinician Award winner. Congratulations.
Well, it's quite an honor to be up here, and I'm very humbled by receiving this award. I just want to point out a little thing that is horsey related. There was a famous physician from a rivaling institution on the East Coast who once said, if you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. Having been told by occasional fellows in my clinic or medicine house staff that my clinic is actually full of zebras, I feel sort of constrained by that device, not knowing how to take care of them then. And in reality, that should not be the end of the diagnostic pathway. For in reality, no single zebra is actually alike, unless they happen to be an identical twin. In fact, you can learn a lot by those hoofbeats if you talk to your patients. You can learn something about the type of gait, whether the size of the horse, whether they're wearing shoes on 2, 4, or no feet. You can tell, in fact, that they might have a genetic mutation simply by listening to the cadence of their walk, and they may actually not be your average horse that many of you know, but they may be a Tennessee Walker with a recently described mutation now defining what's abnormal about their gait. But I just bring that out because talking to your patients and listening to your colleagues is very critical in amassing knowledge over years. It makes you a better physician each day, each week, that you encounter a new, seemingly mundane clinical problem, but really is not so mundane in the end. So I also know, as was mentioned, that you really can't do this by yourself. I'm very good with the telephone and Google and know how to get quick answers and leads on answering complex problems. And I have a variety of individuals in this audience and in the medical center at large who support me in helping make decisions on very complex, difficult patients who are in our hospital or in the outpatient sector. In addition, my support staff and nursing staff within the coagulation disorders are a very dedicated group. They've been with me numbers of years. They can handle many problems. They can interface with the floors in surgery and in the outpatient clinic management of the patients, and are critical to my being able to see many patients and give sound advice and keep me from making mistakes that could be simply a decimal point error. And lastly, I have to give lots of credit to my family for their love, support, and patience these past 28 years at University of Michigan. They've endured the behind-the-scenes ups and downs and balancing the stress of trying to make a decision on a problem I may not know the answer to. They've endured countless episodes of what I call PCS, which is pre-consult service syndrome, so I get a little anxious about what unknown I will be encountered that day that I have to give an answer to fairly shortly. So they provided me the comfort and the love and all that you need to make this all happen. Thank you very much.
Our next recipient of the Outstanding Clinician Award is Dr. Hugh Garton. You there. Dr. Garton is an associate professor of neurosurgery, coming to the University of Michigan in 1999 after completing his fellowship. To join Dr. Corinne Marasco as the only pediatric neurosurgeons at Michigan. He credits Corinne with setting an extremely high standard for patient care, which he has tried to emulate. He was constantly amazed by the profound trust that patients display in allowing he and his colleagues to care for their nervous system. He tells younger colleagues to give patients as much time as they can when they first meet together. Colleagues say he is one of the first physicians to arrive at the hospital and one of the last to leave. He notes that his rewards are in the smiling faces of the children he cares for and their families. He is humbled for the gratitude they express for this care. Utilizing his master's degree in outcomes research, he has worked with several faculty members to design natural history and outcome studies specific to clinical neurosurgery. In his spare time, he plays soccer with teammates from the pediatric ICU and ice hockey with the staff from the Mott OR. Do you ever notice how the surgeons are the ones that play these sports that lead to bone breaks? Whatever. He loves the outdoors and has enjoyed vacations skiing, bicycle touring, backpacking, sailing, and mountain climbing. He also states, and this is a story in the making, he used to sing opera when he was 10. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Hugh Garton, 2013 Outstanding Clinician Award winner.
Thank you, Dean Woolliscroft, and to the selection committee for this honor. It means a great deal coming from an institution and a medical system, and more widely a university that has the highest commitment to healthcare, public service, and scholarly inquiry. As you've heard, when I joined the Department of Neurosurgery in the fall of 1999, my clinical partner and now chair, Corinne Marasco, was the only pediatric neurosurgeon at the University of Michigan. If I am being recognized for my clinical care, then it is only because I have studiously followed the example that she set for me as a mentor, friend, and colleague. For this, I am most grateful. In addition, I've been blessed by many other faculty colleagues, including Dr. Hoff, Drs. Chandler, and Dr. McGillicuddy, all of whom set a high bar for the clinical care that I have tried to emulate. I'm fortunate to have a wonderful team of residents and mid-level providers, administrators, and administrative assistants who provide the nuts and bolts of much of the clinical care that the Pediatric Neurosurgery Service provides. Again, if my efforts are being recognized, it is in no small measure because of the efforts these individuals put forth on a daily basis. I also want to thank my friends at the institution for tolerating my various idiosyncrasies, such as attending faculty meetings in running or biking gear, or trying to see exactly how many books and papers will fit in an 8x12 office, or caring for my patients while I recover from one of the aforementioned sports injuries. Being a neurosurgeon affords me with a profound privilege of caring for the organ that in large part makes us who we are. So even beyond my colleagues and residents, I have to thank my patients for allowing me to care for them. While there are many clinical triumphs to enjoy, there are also failures, sometimes with great loss and pain. Learning what can be learned to improve clinical care is the best way that I can think of to bring meaning to the sacrifices such patients make for us. As you've heard, I've learned many lessons while I've been here. Two that are most direct to this award are that I've learned that I have to give my patients as much time as I possibly can when I first meet them. I try to listen carefully to them and not look at the computer. I try to teach the residents not to rush in and out, but to stop after asking the question, "Do you have any questions?" and let some silence pass. Similarly, I've learned that while I work with my residents and colleagues, that I need to give them as much credit that they care about the patient just as much as I do. And when there's an argument about patient care, to go back and start from this common ground and let that lead me to a solution. As a Midwesterner, I'm uncomfortable in this setting, but I'm nevertheless deeply grateful for the honor. Being a good clinician neurosurgeon takes an inordinate amount of time, meaning that others, particularly my family, have been denied time with their husband, father, or friend to allow me to pursue excellence in patient care. My rewards are the smiling faces of the children I care for and their parents, but for my family and friends, those rewards come secondhand. Being recognized in this fashion allows me the great pleasure of similarly publicly recognizing their sacrifice. There are no words really sufficient for me to express my gratitude to my children, Andrew, Thomas, Catherine, my parents, Hillary and Charles, and most especially to my wife, Mary, for their sacrifices that enabled me to follow my compulsion to provide patient care. Despite my long hours at work, Mary has managed throughout our nearly 24 years of married life to tolerate the loneliness of a husband so bound to his career, to be a sounding board, cheerleader, near single parent to our 3 wonderful children who provide me with so much joy, and my closest friend. You have my deepest gratitude. Thank you all. Thank you.
Our next award winner is Dr. Stephen Lieber. After earning his undergraduate degree from Michigan, he left for medical and graduate school, but always dreamed of returning to Ann Arbor, thinking that as a physician, he would have more free time than as a student. He is now a professor of pediatrics and communicable diseases and neurology, and we have disabused him of that notion. In addition to his faculty appointment, he is medical director of the Pediatric Neurology Clinic and the ACU director of the Pediatric Subspecialty Clinics and program director for the Child Neurology Residency Program. Like many of us who are clinically active, he has been frustrated when unable to determine the cause of a patient's problem, and wished he could reach out to fellow neurologists around the country for advice. But Dr. Lieber did something about it. He established the Child Neuro Listserv, an email list for child neurologists that has grown during the past 20 years to include more than 1,200 clinicians from over 60 countries. His additional contributions to patient care include implementation of a headache clinic in the Division of Pediatric Neurology and a fetal neurology consultation program in collaboration with the Obstetric Fetal Diagnosis and Treatment Center. He recently received a Making a Difference award from a grateful patient whose son told her, "I want to come back to the hospital and see that doctor." He states that in his free time, he enjoys reading fiction and nonfiction, listening to books on the CD. He also enjoys playing racquetball and taking active vacations, biking, skiing, hiking, and kayaking. And finally, he would like everyone to know that before returning to Michigan, he used to be a hooker. Now, I know what you're thinking, and you're right. He played rugby, and that was his position on the rugby team. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Stephen Lieber. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's really the people I work with that make my job fun and keep me on my toes. In particular, I want to thank Faye Silverstein, my division director, for putting forward my nomination and for always being a wonderful mentor. It truly doesn't matter how many years I've been here. She always has advice for me, and most of it's quite useful. She's always challenging, but her challenges lead me to insights that I might not otherwise have had. My academic career hasn't been exactly straightforward or typical. Valerie Castle, my department chair for the last decade, has been able to maintain high standards and yet be a constant source of support and encouragement. She's always been willing to back me up, and she's always provided me with enough flexibility to pursue my evolving interests. My colleagues in pediatric neurology, represented tonight by Ronnie Singh, are deeply committed to first-rate patient care and academic excellence. It's a pleasure to work in an environment of such mutual respect and trust. These qualities extend to the rest of the institution as well. My colleagues in pediatrics, neurology, neurosurgery, and neuroradiology can be relied upon to provide a network of support. I can't tell you how many times I've emailed or called Doug Quint, can you look at one more MRI, or can you teach one more teaching conference for the students? And he proves, by the way, that serious education can be a blast. In pediatrics, Chris Dickinson has taught me a lot about how institutions work and how they can improve, and Ken Pittidge has repeatedly, yet tactfully, reminded his students, and by that I include me, reminded us to question our assumptions and to put the goals of care in the forefront. As important as my colleagues may be, it's my family that's given me my foundation and the basis for what I do. In other settings, I've talked about how my parents have instilled in me a sense of right and wrong, but today I want to emphasize their sense of caring for others. They do this face-to-face, phone call to phone call, time after time. They are and always have been amazing role models for me. My children energize me. Ilani, Tani, and Lior show a perpetual delight in life. They're fun, creative, and spirited. I fell over their many personal, academic, and professional successes. In this setting, in particular tonight, I want to welcome Tani, my son, a second-year medical student at the University of Michigan, and one of the directors of the student-run free clinic. He has a very exciting future ahead of him, and I wish him well as he starts the neuro sequence. And finally, my wife, Dina. Dina's extremely perceptive. I know I'd be a better doctor if I somehow could have Dina magically sitting in my clinic room, looking over my shoulder and whispering in my ear her insights into some of the hidden meanings that behind my patients' words and my patients' actions. Dina's passionate in all the things that she does, her professional life, her writing, her adventures in far-flung places around the world, her running, biking, swimming, dancing, crafts, music, and her deep, deep friendships. She's demanding of herself, but giving to others. As Hugh mentioned about his family, Dina's not only tolerant of my schedule, even when my pager interrupts her birthday dinners, but she provides me with tremendous support and always encourages me to strive for excellence. Finally, I'm always taken with how she demonstrates her sense of caring for others by example rather than by pronouncement. She doesn't make a big thing of helping others, she just does it. I'm truly blessed to have you in my life. I'm surrounded by similar people, all committed to excellence in patient care. Deans Woolliscroft and the awards committee, I thank you for this honor, but I'm especially grateful for the opportunity to have worked here in this environment for so many years. Thank you.
And now, Dr. Lori Lowe. Where's Lori? Dr. Lowe is a professor of dermatology and pathology. She has built the section of dermatopathology in the Department of Pathology into one of the strongest such units in the nation. Her colleagues have assigned her many accolades deserved for a highly respected faculty member. A clinician's clinician, a doctor's doctor, the go-to person when it comes to complex melanocytic lesions. Early in her career, she was the lone dermatopathologist at the University of Michigan. When she was on maternity leave, residents had to come to her home to sign off on cases. Now, with a fully developed team of dermatopathologists, home is much more quiet. Cited by colleagues as the consummate clinician, she is also a respected teacher. Twice she has received the William B. Taylor Resident Teaching Award from the residents in the Department of Dermatology, and is the 2013 recipient of the Walter R. Nickel Award for Excellence in Teaching of Dermatopathology, bestowed by the American Society of Dermatopathology. Her advice to younger colleagues is to pace themselves. It is difficult to do all things at once. She reminds them that a career is not accomplished in 1 year, but rather over the course of decades. Outside of the clinic, she enjoys Michigan sports, reality TV, and the fun of keeping 2 teenagers in check. She states that she is humbled and honored to receive this award for doing what she truly enjoys. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Lori Lowe.
Well, good evening. If someone had told me 22 years ago that I would be standing here today, I would never have believed them. I would have think they were daft. I am truly honored and humbled to be one of the recipients of the Outstanding Clinician Award. It nearly renders me speechless, for which, if you know me, is pretty much impossible. I'm very fortunate that I truly love dermatopathology, and I'm even more fortunate that I've been able to practice dermatopathology at the University of Michigan. But many of you may not even be aware of what dermatopathology is, because I think sometimes we fly under the radar. Suffice it to say that every day my goal is to help my colleagues take the best care possible of their patients by providing thoughtful, insightful, accurate, and timely diagnoses. And you may think, well, that's just for dermatologists. The name's dermatopathology. But it's not just for the dermatologists or the dermatologic surgeons, but for many other disciplines as well. Infectious disease, rheumatology, head and neck surgery, surgical oncology, plastic surgery. It goes on. And it's this cross-fertilization across so many disciplines and the rich and fulfilling relationships with my many bright and amazing colleagues that have developed out of this that has made my U of M experience truly special. And through all of this, if I've been able to help you better take care of your patients and manage them, then I'm on the right track. I'm an outlier in dermatopathology at Michigan because I'm dermatology trained. Personally, I always thought that that has given me the edge, but 18 years ago, I was considered a potential risk in a pathology department. So I'm grateful that Peter Ward had the faith and the foresight to hire me, and I've never looked back. And more recently, Jeff Myers, Director of Anatomic Pathology and my division chief, has provided unconditional support in his vision to create a dermatopathology section that not only provides exceptional patient care, but one that is also nationally recognized. And I think we're succeeding on that count. And I wish to personally thank him and for putting up with me. John Voorhees, Chair of Dermatology, he deserves my heartfelt gratitude. He has provided me unconditional support and mentoring through these many years. He's allowed me and welcomed me, and I've been an integral member of the premier dermatology program in the country. And to my new pathology chair, Kathy Cho, I thank you for the humanity, integrity, and encouragement you already bring to the table. It's palpable, and I look forward to working with you. And last but not least, to my fabulous, talented, and giving husband, Tim Johnson. Sometimes I could kill him for developing the best melanoma program and best cutaneous surgery program in the country, because when he is busy, which is always, then I'm busy. If he cuts it off, then dermatopathology needs to read it. But it's because of these very successful programs that my diagnostic skills are always challenged and put to the test. It only makes me a better clinician every single day. My husband's believed in me when I don't believe in myself, and has always, without question, supported my somewhat unconventional path of trying to achieve that elusive work-life balance. So without him by my side, I would not be here today. So I may not tell you every day, actually probably hardly ever, but thank you. And in closing, I just wanted to share with you a story. When my now 18-year-old daughter was in first grade, she had to write down what her mother's job was. So, she's smart, gotta give her credit. She writes dermatopathologist, and the teacher corrects her, crosses it out, and says, that's not a word, it's dermatologist. And my daughter said, no, dermatopathologist. But it was to no avail. The teacher insisted on her version. So the moral of the story is sometimes I think what I do is a special secret, known only to those whose paths intersect with mine, but together we can still provide excellent patient care and accomplish volumes. So thank you so much.
Our fifth and final Outstanding Clinician Award is given to Dr. David Williams. A professor in radiology, Dr. Williams is considered a pioneer in the study and treatment of aortic disease. His seminal work in aortic pathology and dissections has helped revolutionize the field of aortic endovascular surgery. In 30 years of service at the medical school, he has become the go-to physician in interventional radiology regarding complex venous recannulization, thrombosis, and venous stenting. He is a key member of two joint programs in the Cardiovascular Center, the Venous Disease Program and the Aortic Disease Program. He recently received a letter from a former patient, a marathon runner, back running after a successful recannulization procedure in her right leg. She wrote, "If our paths ever cross again, I welcome it. If they don't, I hope that if you ever have a moment where you doubt the impact you have in the work that you do, please reflect on this case and know that for me, for this one person, you've made an impact that I feel each day and that I will always appreciate." Please join me in congratulating Dr. David Williams.
I'd like to thank the awards committee for selecting me, Jim Shields for nominating me, and my chairman, Reed Dunnick, for supporting me. I'd also like to thank my wife, of course, who's been supporting me all these years, and if there was ever anyone who deserved a joint appointment in interventional radiology, it would be my wife. My father, who was Douglas Williams, died of a type A aortic dissection when he was 44 years old. His birthday was August 10th, and his dissection was 2 months later, October 10th in 1964, which was not a good year to have a dissection if you were anywhere outside of Houston or Stanford. These details will be pertinent in a moment. I was a teenager at the time, and then even later when I was a medical student, I have to confess that I had no burning desire to confront aortic dissection. Later, as a green young interventional radiologist, I encountered some puzzling patients with dissection who died, but at autopsy, their aortas, although they were split, really looked pink and healthy, whereas their gut was black and dead and a mystery as to how they got that way. It was at that time, because of my family connection, that I picked up an interest in aortic dissection. I've now studied over 400 patients with this disease, and I've come to feel in working on these patients that in some mysterious way I'm somehow treating my father. What son wouldn't consider this a privilege, even? The following is true. As I prepared these remarks, the very last patient I treated was a man, 44, same as my father. His birthday was August 9th, a day before my father's, and the day of his dissection was September 30th, 11 days earlier than my father's. So within 2 weeks, this man's life had been arrested by a vascular calamity in the same way as my father. His initials were DW, the same as my father's. Fortunately, there the parallel stops. He lived to have his aorta repaired. These extravagant coincidences, which you really don't expect in life, but sometimes get, I accept with the same gratitude as I accept the extravagant blessings of my wife and 5 children, Karen, Anna, and now her husband, Eddie, Claire, Doug, and Molly. The extravagant good fortune of clinical collaborators like Mike Deeb and Himanshu Patel in thoracic surgery and Tom Wakefield in vascular surgery, and the extravagant honor of this clinical recognition. I am humbled by these graces, and I am humbled by this award. Thank you.
And would ask that the servers serve dessert while we continue with the presentations. At this time, want to move to the Administrator of the Year Award. This is conferred upon a staff member who demonstrates superb leadership in the management of other staff, as well as exceptional operational excellence and stewardship of the resources of the medical school. This year's recipient of the Administrator of the Year Award is Ms. Carolyn Cole Brown. She serves as the administrator for the Department of Orthopedic Surgery, previously serving as division administrator for nephrology in the Department of Internal Medicine. Among her myriad duties, she is responsible for more than 100 employees, 3 outpatient clinics, 70,000 office visits, and 6,200 surgical operations annually. She sees her administrative role as a servant leader of orthopedic surgery faculty, staff, and patients. Her contributions beyond orthopedics are many. She was one of the founders of the Fostering Innovation Program, or FIGS. She helped with the integration of human resources across the health system by leading the group that made recommendations for the HR business units. And recently, she has helped to open the student-run free clinic in Pinckney, Michigan. Ms. Carolyn Cole-Brown relishes the opportunity to make a difference in how service is delivered, to influence how things work, and to see ideas and innovations come alive in the workplace through the contributions of many. She advises her younger colleagues to be open and do whatever it takes to get the job done. Say yes as often as possible. And if that is not possible, to be clear why the answer must be no. She enjoys spending her free time with her family, playing cards, reading romance novels, exercising, and being outdoors to watch the sunset. She states that this award will go on her list of unforgettable moments in her life. I am very pleased to bestow upon Ms. Carolyn Cole-Brown the 2013 Administrator of the Year Award.
I am truly honored and humbled to be recognized by the medical school as Administrator of the Year. By most accounts, I'm a University of Michigan grad, but when I first came to U of M as an undergrad, I remember reading a book by the name of Dry Longso. And what that book talked about was the cycle of poverty. Based on that book, many would say the odds were against me being here with you today. I come from humble beginnings, but what I say to you, however, that how you begin in life is not an indicator of the rest of your life, and I am an example of that. My mother, who unfortunately passed earlier this year, instilled in me and my 7 other siblings the values of staying grounded in one's faith, helping others, working hard, and the value of getting a good education. I have both an undergrad and graduate degree here from University of Michigan. These are values that were ingrained in me at a very, very early age. It is because of these values and how I've applied them in my life that I can be here. I feel fortunate in that I get to work hard for you, the university, my boss, and the medical school. And you've put me in a position where I can make a difference. The great things that have been accomplished in my current role and in my previous roles in this institution were only accomplished because I have the privilege to work with a great team here at the university, both across the university as well as within my department. I know as an administrator that I am only as effective as those that are willing to work with me and for me. I get to see great people do great things every day. And we've heard so many things about the great honorees today and the great things they do every day. I really see my role as a facilitator at the end of the day, with the ability to make things happen. And at the end of the day, I get to serve and help others accomplish their work. And for the good of the patients that we serve, for the students that we teach, and for the research that is done from bench to bedside in order to advance medicine. This award is especially special to me because it demonstrates that hard work, perseverance, and commitment pays off, and it does not go unnoticed. I believe in us. I believe in the 3-pronged mission here at the University of Michigan, and I feel honored and privileged to be part of the Michigan Difference. There are many people here in the audience and outside who I want to thank and recognize for this outstanding recognition. First, I want to thank Dean Woolliscroft, Jim Bell, the Dean's Award Selection Committee, including Connie Bridges, for this outstanding recognition. I want to thank my wonderful and outstanding boss, Dr. James E. Carpenter, who submitted the nomination application. He too was persistent around submitting my application. I would not be standing here today if it were not for him. I feel and am fortunate to work for a boss who cares about his people. He pushes us to be better, and he is committed to helping the organization achieve its goals. He is my key motivator for doing the best job that I can to serve the organization. Thank you, Dr. Carpenter. I also want to thank his lovely wife, who's also been a wonderful supporter, Jenny, who is also here today. I want to thank the many individuals who submitted letters of support for my nomination, including Sean Dwyer, Tony Denton, Jeannie Rizzo, Dr. Joseph Kolars, Dr. Ashish Beatty, Linda Grosh, Cassandra Willis-Abner, Musty Habhab, and Deborah Childs. I want to thank my faculty, of which one of my faculty members are here, Dr. Sybil Bierman. They keep me on my toes. And I have to tell you, I am very fortunate to be in the department where I get to work with outstanding clinicians every day, and many of you are here today. I have the utmost respect for the faculty and what they bring to what we do here every day in terms of our three-pronged mission. They push me to be better, and they push me to give more. These are the same faculty members at the end of the day that will come and talk with me behind closed doors because we built that type of relationship. They, to me, are the backbone of the university and my department, and I work to serve them and to meet their needs. I want to thank my staff and my administrative team, of whom I share this award. I stand here today because of them. I have to say, it really takes a village to make an effective administrator. I am fortunate in that I have a team that have a get-it-done attitude. They show up every day with a smile on their face and with enthusiasm where no job is too big, no task is too great. And at the end of the day, they're happy and they show up the next day with the same smile. I'm very fortunate. One of my team members is here, Linda Thompson. She exemplifies this behavior every day in her work, and I want to thank you, Linda, for your continued hard work and service to the department. Lastly, but not least, I want to thank my wonderful family. My husband, Lauren, who has put up with long work hours and my lateness to family events. He's not only my husband, but he's also my best friend of 27 years. I want to thank my daughters, Lorna and Elise, who have gotten accustomed to being the first children dropped off at school, and often the last kids that are left after school, so I apologize. I am so proud of my daughters, who are really growing up to be wonderful little ladies. They keep me grounded with gentle teasing, their great senses of humor, and for the hugs they show and give me at the end of the day. They're the ones, too, and I've had a long day, will bring me a hot cup of tea. I love each of you dearly. I want to thank my brother, Henry, who is here today. And although it's been a tough year for us with the loss of my mom, he is one of my biggest supporters. When I was younger, in one of our bedrooms, we had a wall full of books. And there was a whole wall covered with books. And my brother, Henry, when I was about 8 or 9, removed a shelf of books on a lower shelf, and he named that Carolyn's Books, my Carolyn's bookshelf. So I had my own shelf, and he began to fill that shelf with books. And he began my early love for reading and learning and growing as an individual. So Henry, thank you for always being in my corner, for being my supporter, and being the person that encouraged me to continue to get a good education. I want to end by congratulating all the honorees today and thanking again Dean Woolliscroft, Jim Bell, and Dr. Carpenter again for this wonderful recognition. It really means the world to me. Thank you so much.
And now the presentation of the Kaiser Permanente Awards for Excellence in Preclinical Teaching. The first of 2 Kaiser Permanente Awards for Excellence in Teaching is being given to an individual who has demonstrated superior teaching ability, accessibility, or willingness to help students more than other teachers, enthusiasm, and the ability to generate student enthusiasm, as well as to serve as an exemplary role model. The recipient of tonight's first Kaiser Permanente Award for Excellence in Preclinical Teaching is Dr. Rachel Lipson-Glick. Come on up. Rachel is a professor and associate chair in the Department of Psychiatry. She has served the medical school in many roles as an educator, administrator, clinician, and associate dean for student programs. As a small group leader in the family-centered experience, she believes that teaching is much more than sharing knowledge. She loves teaching in our small groups and having the opportunity to watch our first and second year students as they begin the path of growing into professionals. This setting allows her the opportunity to be a lifelong learner, to get to know students on a deeper level, and to continue to have an impact on their professional development. She also believes that it is the duty of the faculty to guide the progression of our highly intelligent, motivated students into critical thinkers and reflective caregivers. She reminds those who are starting out not to give up their outside lives or interests for their career. Be sure to make time for the things they love outside of medicine, and she advises them to take at least 1 vacation a year, preferably at least 10 days in length with no email. As a practicing psychiatrist, she recommends that the brain needs to rest from the constant bombardment of information. I don't know how many of you follow that advice. Away from work, she enjoys traveling, bird and animal watching, reading, going to the movies, indicating that Netflix is not the same, and seeing her son Jeremy in theater productions and daughter Hannah on the volleyball court. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Rachel Lipson-Glick. Congratulations, Rachel.
Thank you. I'm honored to receive this award and to be recognized for the work I've done with medical students over the past 20 years. It's especially meaningful to me to get this award at this time because over the last decade, my work with students has focused on the small group sessions as part of the family-centered experience. And it's a setting in which I also serve as mentor and advisor to students. I just want to thank a few people. First, I want to thank John Graydon for allowing me to become involved in medical school curriculum as a new faculty member. I want to thank Cyril Groom for recognizing my interest and skills in student life and well-being. Laura Spetz for giving me the chance to work in the dean's office as a junior faculty member, and Alan Lichter and Jim Woolliscroft for supporting my continued work there. I want to thank Greg Dalek for allowing me to continue my teaching, even though there's a lot of other things we need to get done. And finally, I want to thank my family, Gary, my husband, and my children, Hannah and Jeremy. They all know well that preparation time for teaching happens in the evenings and on weekends and during other personal times, but they support me nonetheless, and they're always telling me that they're proud of my work and my accomplishments. Thank you.
Our second Kaiser Permanente Award, this one for excellence in clinical instruction, is given to Dr. Jonathan Trobe. Dr. Trobe is professor of ophthalmology and visual sciences, neuro-ophthalmology, and neurology. He has an interesting career path, as you likely read, leaving a 10-year job at the University of Florida to take a residency in neurology at the University of Miami. Following completion of that residency, he was recruited to Michigan by former ophthalmology chair Dr. Paul Lichter. After years of teaching medical students, he became one of the first instructors to recognize the unique potential of e-learning. He created The Eyes Have It, an interactive web-based syllabus in ophthalmology. The Eyes Have It have become the most popular online source in ophthalmology worldwide. It has registered over 65,000 visits from 169 countries and has earned a reputation as the most popular open-source teaching tool in the field. From his days as a journalist wannabe, Dr. Trobe says he has always loved trying to describe what he has seen and learning in writing and through teaching. He teaches the ophthalmology portion of the neuroscience sequence for the M2s. He has taught the clinical elective in ophthalmology for M3s and M4s, and is currently co-director of the Kellogg Center for International Ophthalmology. He recently inaugurated a mentoring program for first-year students who want to study abroad during the summer before their M2 year begins. He has received many teaching awards and has been inducted into the League of Educational Excellence. His advice to young physicians: look broadly at all the specialties of medicine before choosing one, but realize that each offers wonderful opportunities. Seizing those opportunities is up to the individual. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Jonathan Trobe.
Thank you very much. This means a lot to me. I've been here for many years, and I've had great support from many, many people, among them Alan Sugar and Terry Bergstrom, who are going to be honored tonight as well, from Doug Gelb, who's a previous winner of this award, and from more recently from our terrific new ophthalmology chair, Paul Lee, who's sitting over here. I'm especially grateful tonight to be able to share this evening with my wife and with my wonderful in-laws, Ralph and Branya Lowenstein, who have joined us here tonight from Florida. Thank you very much.
Our next award is the Distinguished Faculty Lectureship in Biomedical Research Award. This is the highest honor bestowed by the medical school upon a faculty member in the biomedical sciences. This year's winner is Dr. John Williams, who unfortunately is unable to attend tonight's ceremony. Dr. Williams is the Horace W. Davenport Collegiate Professor of Physiology, Professor of Molecular and Integrative Physiology and Internal Medicine. He has been recognized as a groundbreaking researcher, caring mentor, and great ambassador for the university during his 26 years. His nominator for the Distinguished Faculty Lectureship Award in Biomedical Research added a new, all-encompassing moniker, and that is Mr. Exocrine Pancreas of the Globe. As John has made seminal contributions as to the understanding of the pancreas, including control of digestive enzyme synthesis, the regulation of pancreatic growth, and cellular mechanisms involved in rodent models of experimental pancreatitis. He recently created the Pancreapedia, Exocrine Pancreas Knowledge Base, which is an open-access, one-stop information repository for all known about the exocrine pancreas, taken from the model of the Wikipedia. John served as chair of the Department of Physiology, now the Department of Molecular and Integrative Physiology, for 2 decades. He has been honored with a professorship named in his honor, the John Williams Collegiate Professorship in Gastrointestinal Physiology. John states that away from work, he enjoys traveling, hiking, and kayaking, and has kayaked almost the entire length of the Huron River. The reason he can't be here tonight is very fitting. He is attending the annual meeting of the American Pancreatic Association. When you see him, please congratulate him on receiving the 2013 Distinguished Faculty Lectureship Award in Biomedical Research. A round of applause for John. Our next award is the Lifetime Achievement Award in Clinical Care. This recognizes a pair of outstanding physicians who have distinguished themselves through their exceptional achievements in clinical care. It is an honor to present a Lifetime Achievement Award in Clinical Care to Dr. Kenneth Silk. A professor of psychiatry, Dr. Silk came to Michigan after completing his residency at Yale University. He has served as director of the Personality Disorders Program since 1996. In this role, he cares for some of the most seriously and persistently difficult mentally ill patients that we serve. He is a clinician who always is looking for ways to broaden his impact on patient care here at the university. He has taken on part-time responsibilities in the health service and the medical student health program in the school. Colleagues cite these examples to highlight how he thrives on the delivery of clinical care and truly savors the chance to interact and care for new groups. He enjoys teaching residents, something that has earned him 2 Departmental Teacher of the Year awards. His advice to junior faculty is to balance both research and clinical work in an area of interest and participate in the professional groups that broaden your understanding and focus in these areas. A very interesting fact is that between college and medical school, Ken worked as a postman in Hyannis, Massachusetts, on Cape Cod. Besides that, he loves to cook and bake and is known for his pies. He once took a week-long course at Zingerman's called A Bake-A-Vacation. Please join me in congratulating Dr. Kenneth Silk.
So after listening to all these people and all their accomplishments, I'm afraid I've walked into the wrong dinner. I want to thank the committee and the people who nominated me, and it is, as many other people have said, truly an honor to receive this award. I am touched by it. There are many fine physicians and clinicians here in our health system who are equally deserving of such recognition, and no one person can clearly achieve an award such as this. I'm going to mention 6 people, but there are clearly many more people who I would like to mention tonight. The first person is the late Noni Law, who took my interest in personality disorders and helped me turn that into an academic career and a clinical specialty, allowing me to establish a clinical and research focus and to build a reputation around that. And then there's John Graydon, who is here tonight with his wife Renee, and without whose help, almost all of what I've achieved here at the University of Michigan Health System would have been impossible. He appointed me first Adult Service Chief and then Associate Chair for Clinical and Administrative Affairs. Through those roles and all that followed, John helped and promoted me. He never failed to introduce me and compliment me to many people throughout the medical world, both within and beyond this medical center. With his guidance, I became involved in administration both on the departmental level as well as at the hospital and the health system level. And then there's Joanne Heap, who's also here tonight. Joanne is a social worker, and she and I worked together first on the inpatient unit, and then we moved together at about the same time to ambulatory care. Joanne became an early adopter of dialectical behavioral therapy, better known as DBT, a therapy that has become the most prominent and well-researched evidence-based therapy for the treatment of patients with borderline personality disorder. Under Joanne's guidance, DBT became established here at the University of Michigan, and our reputation as a major clinical resource for the treatment of these perplexing patients has grown. I need also to thank Gregory Dalek, my current chair, who's continued to support me and kept me involved in the department, and he, along with Michelle Reber, put me forward for this award. And finally, I need to thank Sherry Cattell, who was my administrative support for 15 years, who kept me organized, always rode lookout, and approached my patients with a dignity and respect that they recall to me still at this very day. As a teenager, my father was considering moving his business, which was a clothing business, and when he was willing to rent a full old W.T. Grant store or a half W.T. Grant store, depending upon whether his sons and his, at that point in time, future son-in-law were interested in going into the clothing business. At that time, I thought it was uninteresting, though the business sense that I learned from him, I think, helped me tremendously when I was an associate chair here in the department. But I thought his work was uninteresting, and he had to work nights and weekends. You know where I'm going. So I wanted a career where I could learn continually and where I would have my nights and weekends free. I thank the university and the health system for providing me with the opportunity and the resources to continuously learn and grow professionally over the past 38 years, even if I did not escape the working of nights and weekends. And I thank my wonderful family and my wife who tolerated my working all those hours. Without the university, without the mentors and the people who have taught me and assisted me along the way, but also particularly without the residents and other trainees from whom I have learned so much, I would not be here in front of you. I have been very lucky to have landed here in Michigan and to have spent my professional life here. Thank you.
Our second Lifetime Achievement Award in Clinical Care goes to Dr. Alan Sugar. Alan? A professor of ophthalmology and visual sciences, he was recruited to Michigan from Mount Sinai Medical School. During almost 35 years of service at the Kellogg Eye Center and the department, he has earned the designation Statesman of Ophthalmology. He served as associate chair for almost 20 years and now is vice chair of the department. He's a member of the patient care, operating room, and quality assurance committees and serves the larger medical school and university community as co-chair of our Institutional Review Board for Human Subjects Research. Clinically, Dr. Sugar is recognized internationally as an expert in the treatment and surgery of corneal diseases. He is one of the leaders of the Cornea Donor Study, a long-term randomized trial of corneal donor age and its effect on corneal transplant outcomes. He also served on the planning committee for the NIH-sponsored Corneal Preservation Time Study and is principal investigator at Kellogg. He is editor-in-chief of Cornea, the leading journal in his subspecialty, and additionally has served as a volunteer medical director for the Michigan Eye Bank for more than 30 years. Alan's advice to our younger colleagues is to find an area of expertise that you enjoy and do your best to become a leader in that field. Own that area. In addition to his clinical work, he enjoys reading, fishing, and visiting his condo in Longboat Key, Florida. Interestingly, Alan has an identical twin, and his brother not only resembles him physically, but also has an identical faculty role at the University of Illinois in Chicago. It is an honor to present the Lifetime Achievement Award in Clinical Care to Dr. Alan Sugar. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate this receiving this award, although I felt when I heard about it that the lifetime part sounded like kind of a terminal diagnosis. I appreciate the support of my chairs, Paul Lichter, who was my chair for 33 years, and Paul Lee, who hopefully will be my chair for the next 33 years. I also appreciate the support of my daughters, Lori and Amy, and my wife, Gail, who supported me long before work-life balance was invented. I appreciate the opportunity of being part of the opportunity to recognize clinical care. We recognize in the medical school research through peer-reviewed things like grants and publications, and we recognize teaching through the surveys of students and other teachers. But we do, I think, a pretty poor job of recognizing clinical care by RVUs. RVUs are a measure of throughput of care, but not of quality of care. And I think that it's important that we learn to teach and to provide care by listening to our patients, by listening to what they have to tell us, by taking the time to tell them what we think that they need to help them with their care. And I just appreciate that that's being recognized. Thank you very much.
And now it is my pleasure to present the Lifetime Achievement Award in Medical Education to Dr. Terry Bergstrom. This award recognizes a truly outstanding faculty educator who has distinguished him or herself through their exceptional contributions to medical education. Dr. Terry Bergstrom is so recognized tonight. He is Professor Emeritus of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences. After majoring in mathematics and chemistry at that school up north, Michigan State University, he planned to become a high school teacher, but those plans changed. While completing his military obligation, he became interested in medicine and ophthalmology in particular, due to association with flight surgeons. He subsequently was admitted to medical school here, and after completing his medical degree and residency, he joined the faculty in 1980 and began to teach medical students and continued to do so throughout his career. He served as residency program director from 1991 to 98, has been a member of many committees related to medical school curriculum. He won the department's annual ophthalmology teaching award so many times that in 1994, the residents named it in his honor, the Terry J. Bergstrom Resident Teaching Award, and it continues. He has an endowed professorship in his name, recognizing his contributions to resident education. And he also is an inaugural member of the League of Educational Excellence. Terry states that he has observed and worked with outstanding educators in the medical school and has incorporated what he has learned from others in his teaching. His advice to younger colleagues is to pick a good chair and to work with, not for, that individual. Outside of medicine, he enjoys spending quality time with his family, gardening, Michigan athletic events, and especially spending time with his expanding family. For many years, he taught not only in ophthalmology, but also coached youth basketball, baseball, and softball. It is my great pleasure to present Dr. Terry Bergstrom, the Lifetime Achievement Award in Medical Education.
I'm not sure that they saved the best to last, but they certainly saved the oldest to last. Thank you, Dean Woolliscroft. I have well, first of all, one of the pictures there shows me as a youth on the farm demonstrating my outstanding teaching prowess with my dog Shep. But I have a confession to make. I haven't told anybody this, I think, not even my children, but when I finished high school, I decided I wanted to be an engineer. Fortunately, I broke my arm playing touch football my first semester and had to drop engineering drawing, which was a prerequisite for almost all the other courses in engineering, and it would have taken me would have taken me 5 years to complete the program. Well, those were the days of the Korean War, and my draft board said, we will defer you for 4 years, but not for 5. And that's when I changed my major, as Dr. Woolliscroft has mentioned. I served my commitment after graduating from undergrad in the Air Force, and they made a pilot out of me. But I could see the writing on the wall because at age 35 or 40, most of the pilots were flying LSD-4s, a large steel desk, 4 drawers. And so I became, but that isn't the reason I went into medicine, because I really was stimulated by the flight surgeons and his extensive annual pilot physicals and ophthalmology examinations. And I said, I think I'd like to try medicine, and I really have a bend toward the ophthalmology part of it. Anyhow, there's another part that I've had a lot of detours on my road up to this podium, as you could tell from the bio. But another detour that I had was I ran out of. It was a good detour. I ran out of money my first year of medical school, so I conned the Air Force into supporting me for my medical school, internship, and residency. Of course, afterwards I owed them my life. And I ended up teaching at one of the big Air Force hospitals, and that's where Dr. Lichter discovered me again, although we had been residents together. That picture of my family is what I call my Air Force family. My wife and I raised those children during my Air Force career, and I call them my Air Force family because once I returned to Michigan, we had a 4th child, Elizabeth, and she is here tonight with her husband, Sam. So I'm certainly glad that she could make it. The rewards for teaching are not the number of certificates that you get or the number of plaques that you get, nor the number of inscribed clocks that you get, but it's the other kind of intangible, the notes and letters you receive from your students, the ovations that I've often received, although I'm not sure I was worthy of them, after my lectures in ophthalmology. And recently, I noted that there were some of my former students who attended my lectures. This time they came with their children who were medical students at the time. So these are the intangibles and the rewards. But this outstanding award is really the icing on the cake for teachers. I should have guilt feelings about accepting this award because it's for something I've enjoyed doing for so many years. But I think I have the strength of character to overcome this feeling. When the notice came out that I was going to receive this award, a friend of mine sent me an email, and he said that the road to senility is lined with honors. So be it. I love every minute of it. Thank you all.
One of the things that I sometimes comment on is what a privilege I count it in my position to get a glimpse of the excellence that surrounds us, dedicated to each aspect of our mission. Hopefully all of you tonight have shared just a little bit of that insight, recognizing what a privilege it is to work with colleagues, staff and faculty alike, in what I think is a very, very high calling, and that is serving the patients who are in front of us, through our students in research, serving patients of the future. I thank all of you for joining us tonight. I again congratulate all of our award winners, thank all of the committees putting in time to sort through the tremendous nominations that we received. I wish all of you a good night. Linger, enjoy one another's company, and very importantly, all the award winners come up on stage to have a group photo after the event. Have a wonderful evening.